What is one-signature divorce in New York? When a spouse refuses to participate, New York law still offers a path to end the marriage. A one-signature divorce allows a spouse to obtain a judgment without the other spouse's signature or consent. This occurs when the filing spouse properly serves divorce papers and the other spouse defaults, or when the court authorizes alternate service because the spouse cannot be found. Under New York's no-fault law, a spouse may swear that the marriage has been irretrievably broken for at least 6 months, but the court must still decide issues of property division, spousal support, and child matters before granting a judgment. Uncontested cases involve agreement on all terms, but a default arises when the defendant does not answer. Due process requires that divorce papers be served personally by an adult who is not a party. In New York, the server must also be a state resident. The server must complete an affidavit of service showing that notice was delivered correctly. After the summons is filed, the plaintiff has 120 days to complete service. A defendant served in New York has 20 days to answer. Outside the state, the deadline is 30 days. If no response is received, the plaintiff can request a default judgment and the case may proceed without the other spouse participating. Even in a default, the judge applies the same legal standards for equitable distribution and child custody or support. When a spouse cannot be located, the filing spouse may seek a court order to serve by publication. The motion must describe the attempts made to locate the missing spouse and include an affidavit with supporting evidence. If granted, the summons is published in a court-designated newspaper once a week for 3 weeks, and service is considered complete after the 21st day. If the defendant still does not appear, the plaintiff may seek a default judgment. Filing for a one-signature divorce in Manhattan usually begins at the county clerk's office with a summons with notice or a summons and complaint. There is a filing fee for an index number and additional fees that total at least $335. A fee waiver is available if payment causes hardship. After filing, the plaintiff must serve the defendant within 120 days and, if the defendant does not sign a consent affidavit, generally must wait 40 days after service before asking the court to move the case forward as an uncontested default. Additional documents will be required to finalize the divorce. New York's residency rule requires that at least one spouse meet certain conditions. A spouse who has lived in New York continuously for 2 years before filing satisfies the requirement. A 1-year period is enough if the marriage occurred in New York, the spouses lived in New York as spouses, or the grounds for divorce happened in the state, and no separate period is required if both spouses are residents when the case begins and the grounds occurred in New York. A divorce lawyer can help determine which residency requirement applies and ensure that your papers meet court standards. An experienced attorney will guide you through service procedures and motions, document efforts to find a missing spouse, and prepare requests for default judgments. You may benefit from consulting an attorney to understand your rights and responsibilities. Obtaining a divorce when the other spouse refuses to cooperate or cannot be found may feel overwhelming, but you do not have to navigate the process alone. A trusted law firm can advise you on each step and advocate for your interests. Choosing a law firm familiar with New York divorce procedures can give you confidence. If you have questions about a one-signature divorce or need guidance on filing, contact Juan Luciano Divorce Lawyer. Call 212-537-5859 and visit 347 Fifth Avenue, STE 1003, New York, New York, 10016, United States.